I'm just jamming along to that nice music there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil. And like always, GameTime Bryan is in the house. What's going on, Bryan? How are you doing this OTA weekend, something? Memorial Day weekend? How about that? We go with that. Memorial Day weekend.
We're
How's
go
your
with
Memorial
Day weekend? Whatever you want to go with, Phil. You're the man. How is everybody doing out there, man? I am doing great, man. Jack Meeker's in the house, 24/7. Mike Aldana.
Stacy, what's going on? Geo Auto. 24/7 Cowboy, you said.
I'm
got a nice little chat. It'll build
you guys
up.
Ready?
Yeah, we got OTAs going on. I put a couple pictures in there, some rotation, trying to find it. I think to me, you'll see some stuff that is leaked, but it was hard to kind of gather it all together. And I didn't want it to be taken off the Dallas Cowboys website and stuff, so I wanted to kind of see what was out there, kind of show you kind of little things there. But anyways, yeah, man, we are rolling. Mini camp had already happened for the rookies. OTAs is kind of, we're getting some, at least them in motion. They're not putting their hands on bodies, they're not going crazy like that, but we are able to see them in motion, get the connection between Dak and his receivers, his tight ends, his running backs, fill in the blanks right there. But actually, what I want to do, we're going to do little things differently, and I know this time Bryan has a lot of stuff to say about this, and we have he has a lot of topics and everything. So I'm gonna push the mic over to you, Bryan, and let you kind of take it over, and I'll kind of look at the chat and see what's going on there.
You're gonna be the maestro, hitting all the buttons and
what's up,
making
Twiz?
sure that I don't,
Alan Williams.
I don't forget the chat. What's up, Alan?
To breathe.
Thanks
to breathe. Okay, breathe. Time to breathe.
Man. Let's first. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the topic of the day.
Anything, I think Twiz has it all. I think to all the veterans. Thank you, to all those memorial.
Let's talk about
the memorial stuff, the people that lost their lives. Yeah, all that. It's just, there's a lot there. There's a lot that you could unpack.
You know what?
Hours.
That's a good one. Can you hear me, Phil?
Yeah, I can hear you. Great.
Okay. Let's just, remember why. Let's start out the show by this. Remember why we celebrate Memorial Day. I work for the government. I know I'm off Monday. I get a paid holiday. So I get myself a 3-day weekend. But let's just remember why that we need to thank our veterans. We have freedom for a reason. And people put their lives on the line for this country, for our freedom. So let's first start off the show. Thank you, man, for your service. If you're watching,
and really, honestly, the day is obviously remembering those that we've lost during this time. Time, it's there. It's unfortunately something that pokes its head out of there, but it's something that, at least we can take a day to remember those kind of things. So yeah, definitely.
Let's start out there.
Yeah. So let's go ahead now. Let's jump into the stuff of the OTAs, the Dallas Cowboys, the NFL, the situations that's going along. We even have stuff
you got it, Michael,
that we're being dragged into, even though it's kind of like the OBJ kind of thing, where maybe we were on that train in the beginning, but then all of a sudden when he wasn't coming here, and then we're gonna keep talking about it, and we're like, no, it's not gonna happen. It's the same thing with the D. Hopkins.
Thank you for your service, Jack Meeker.
Yes. Thank you, man.
Yeah. First, before we get into the OTAs, Phil, let's talk about DeAndre Hopkins. He was finally cut, released, whatever nice term you want to use.
Gave the pink slip.
He's no longer an Arizona Cardinal. And what I'm hearing is that the Bills and let me see real quick. I want to get this right. Bills and Chiefs, they were the only two teams who had substantial trade talks with Arizona regarding DeAndre. So expect those two to be at the head of the list to get his services. Mm-hmm. Just remember, he is not going to be cheap. He has a number. He saw what Odell Beckham got. Don't expect him to take a dime less than what Odell Beckham got. Remember, Odell Beckham did not play last year. He did. So there's where the issue is coming. So expect him to probably end up taking a cheap deal to go with, either the Bills or the Chiefs. Outside chance of the Ravens. Don't expect them to come to the Cowboys. I don't know.
I wouldn't expect that either. I mean, don't give me a man. That'd be amazing. I mean, here's the thing. Like when I talked about it on Twitter, I was kind of like, well, he had already talked kind of some crap about Dak and that whole thing on the podcast. But then again, he is the type of guy to kind of go back on what he just said because he just a month or two before.
Crap, Phil.
It was just a month or two before he was talking about how much he wanted to be in Dallas, and then he didn't want to be in Dallas. He's a little hurt. Right. And now you have a chance.
Exactly.
Like if you would have just pumped your brakes just for a week, you would have been fine.
Dak.
Yeah.
It's Dak didn't come out and say, "Oh yeah, D-Hop, we want him." So he kind of probably got his feathers ruffled a little bit.
What's up,
obviously, this was more of a league-wide thing than we knew about. Remember, we were talking about. I was one of the first on the scene when I said I wanted him number one. More than a lot of guys. Yeah. My number one, I wanted to trade for Diggs. Obviously, that flow. Outside of that, I wanted D-Hop. Mark Holmes was like, no, and then all of a sudden, Mark came on to our side because I know you were always on it too. Yeah. But obviously, most people in the league don't want to pay a lot for this guy. He's often injured. I think he would go great with Dak, but I don't think we need him. Honestly, I think it would be embarrassing of the riches at this point.
I would take him and drop Simi. Probably you would have to take some. You have to take one of those guys that you want to try.
You
have to
cut somebody.
You need to cut somebody to kind of take that place. So you need to take one of those receivers. Do you leave Simeon here and you cut Turpin, for example? I mean, there's something there that you're going to have to give up in order to bring a guy like that. But I can't say that he's not worth it. I mean, he's amazing with his point of the ball. It's just wondering where is he at. I mean, you look at Dez, for example. Right. Dez was amazing at the 50-50 balls. Just at the end of his career, I mean, he couldn't come down with those 50-50 balls. I remember somebody talked to me, well, I always see somebody, on his hip. Well, that's the thing about Dez Bryant. He always had somebody on his hip. He just always caught it over them, and that's kind of what Hopkins. I mean, Hopkins is, 2 or 3 guys, and he's jumping up and getting it. So, of course, you would want somebody like that on your team. It's just, even if you're never going to be really in a situation where DeAndre Hopkins is going to have to catch a ball over 3 guys here because Dak is not going to throw that throw unless it's tight end Schultz, but Schultz is already out the door. So,
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so I wanted to touch on D-Hop. I don't think the Eagles or the Cowboys are interested in that. It's just my opinion.
I don't think so either.
Are we good?
Yeah, you're good.
I don't hear. Oh, there it is. Yeah, because I didn't hear the music for a second. Oh. Ultra Cowboys in the house, Phil.
What's going on, Ultra Cowboy? No, I don't see him. I gotta figure. I don't know.
He says the only player I would want if he was available was Quentin Nelson. Our roster is loaded. Listen, if Quentin Nelson comes available, Ultra Cowboy, I'm on board. I'm with you.
I think the only one that I would probably. I mean, looking at our defense is just stacked. But if I had to add somebody, there's that big talk with Quentin Williams over there in the Jets. I mean, that's a guy that I would just be like,
well, I would have said that before our draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with our draft now,
you don't feel that way. Yeah.
Let's start out there. I have stuff numbered, but look, I'm just gonna go since we brought up Quentin Williams and who you would want. He plays the interior now. We went and got Mozzie Smith, right? Mm-hmm. Mozzie in the OTAs, this is coming from Broadus, my main source of actual information and not just a lot of
BS,
hot air that's being spewed by half, all the writers.
Yeah.
Mozzie is not a sloppy guy. He's a big guy. But he's not a guy who you look at. He looks in shape. Not quite Tyron Smith in shape, and we'll get to Tyron. But Mozzie looks
what's up,
huge.
Vato?
But he's huge without all the fat. But your guy, Junior Fehoko, he was a San Jose State defensive end. He is now sliding inside. And he is playing the 3 tech Now, you were a college football player out of Oregon. You're well aware of what the three tech does. He's more of he takes on he's like the under tackle. He takes on the blockers, but he actually goes after the quarterback. So they're sliding him inside. He's a big boy. So we don't have much room for Quentin Nelson now, but I'm excited about our interior, Phil.
I would take a corner. I think I would only take a corner. I'm interested to see what Eric Scott has in the sense of the defense. But I think if anything, if I was going to take anybody on, I guess I would automatically take an offensive lineman from another team. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be very unpopular, and I know it's just like I'm not gonna get a lot of this. Yeah, I love our tight end core. I do like it a lot. I'm not sold on Hendershot out of all of them, and I know there's a lot of people that like him, and I can understand. I hope he becomes an amazing player, and he's just ornery and just wiry and just it's amazing. But I can't see it yet. I see it flashes, but then I also see the penalties that cost us 15 yards at least once a game. And so I'm interested to see what develops there. But man, those first two tight ends on this roster are ridiculous. Yeah. And they're both weapons on the running game and the passing game.
You brought up the tight ends, and I made a note. The word out of the OTAs is Luke Schoonmaker is huge. He makes Ferguson and Hendershot, he dwarfs them. He's a big boy, and he was physical. He's built. And another thing, since you brought up the tight ends, Jake Ferguson has slimmed down and looks even better than he did last year going into the season. So he's taking it serious. Ultra Cowboy says Schoonmaker is the best tight end on our roster.
It's ridiculous.
Schoonmaker is going to come in.
I love Jake Ferguson.
He was working with the ones, Phil.
Yeah,
he was working with the ones already.
To me, he's like the old. Like again, remember last year when I was saying how Jake Ferguson is just built to block and then roll out and catch the ball, and then you look at, that's why I said Schoonmaker. If I didn't have him, I wouldn't be so disappointed. But man, when you have him, he's going to be a weapon. He's going to be a Jay Novacek type of tight end where he's in there getting those blocks and just getting some big tight end touchdowns. I see big things with him and Jake Ferguson. I just hope they give Jake more opportunities than they did last year.
Yeah. Jack Meeker said McKeon is still a good tight end too.
I agree.
Yeah, we're going to go with 4.
Yeah, and I like that as a 4.
Barring injury, McKeon has had some injury issues. He's, a better blocker than Hendershot, but he's going to be a part of the mix. The good thing about McKeon is he plays special teams. But Phil, you brought up Hendershot, and that's your least favorite. The thing with Hendershot is his value coming out of the draft was higher than Jake Ferguson. Mm-hmm. His problem was the off-the-field issue. Now he is more of don't shoot me for this.
What's up, Cole Cowboys?
Comment. He's more of the Travis Kelce type where he doesn't block at all. Jake, Hendershot. But man, can he run routes, and man, can he run with the ball in his hand. So
I would be okay with that type. He just needs to bulk up. I think if he bulks up, then he can be that type of tight end all he wants. But I did like from his rookie year. I mean, he was in there. I mean, he wasn't showing that too much in college, but he was definitely, holding his own when it comes to some of that blocking last year. And, that was great. That's what made Schultz have to stand, kind of step up and start blocking himself. And so I am excited about the tight end. I cannot say that I wouldn't be worried in the sense of if Hendershot is out there on a critical down, but I'm not feeling the same threat as he was like in Noah Brown instance. I feel Hendershot would come up with it and actually fight for those extra yards to try to get the touchdown. Maybe a negative thing for him where he gets the ball knocked out, but I can see Hendershot definitely fighting. And I think that's what you see in this new Dallas Cowboys team is that everybody is willing to fight. Everybody's willing to just just claw each other, just to get to that touchdown or that extra point or block or quarterback sack. And so that's what I like about it. I think he definitely represents that part of it. So
yeah, I agree.
Who do you like? What category?
If you guys want to read, he says, "Cook the Eagles," and I'm Twiz. I don't know where Twiz went, but there you go, man. Shots fired. My next thing I want to talk about is, I obviously had it wrong, Phil. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm going with what I would do. Tyler Smith. Here he is. There's Twiz. Tyler Smith was exclusively at left tackle. So my whole thing with Tyron Smith going to left tackle was obviously wrong. After the first few days of OTAs, Tyler Smith was exclusive. So they are locked in, barring injury. And he's going to play left tackle.
Here's the thing:
even if there is injury on other guys, he's going to be a left tackle.
When we talked about Tyron Smith last year, and I think the very big, everybody could jump on board. I don't know if it was big with the coaching staff, but we talked about how Tyron Smith to me should be your swing tackle. He should be the guy that he's a great. I'm not saying that he's an amazing right tackle, but I mean, right now in his career, it's hard for him to be an amazing left tackle as well, too. And so when we saw the restructuring and the new contract that he came up with, and you're saying, okay, if you get 70% of the snaps, or you get 55% of the snaps, or if you get 80% of snaps, I think it was with most Cowboy fans where I was thinking, okay, where they're structuring it to where when he starts and when he gets injured, if he's not available for all those times, he loses all this money. And so that's what I was thinking about. I wasn't really thinking in the other sense that, okay, well, if you can come in and be our savior for 50% of the snacks, 70% of the snaps, instead of the opposite snacks, time to go get a damn snack. If he's available more of our, where one way he's more of a burden, the other way he becomes more of our savior. So I think it's crazy how they kind of switched the roles. But when I saw the original contract, of course, I was thinking the opposite way.
Right. Yeah, well, but he's been locked in. Tyler Smith is playing left tackle. Tyron Smith has been locked in on the right side with Terrence Steele still rehabbing. He was not taking part. All our expectations is that he's going to be ready to go for the. I don't know so much about the OTAs, but he'll be ready for training camp. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with Tyron Smith if they want to have their best five on the field type of deal. They had, and since we're talking about the offensive line,
do it.
I wrote down some comments. They had Matt Farniok, who they love. He was getting work as both guards, left guard and right guard, and center. So he's on the team. You know what I mean? They already liked him. I agree.
I already like. Yeah, he likes it. They like him.
You know what I mean? So
and he was showing some significant
guard.
Yeah, he was showing some signs of improvement when they had him in last year. And so you're like, okay. And he was kind of in that mix of people that they were talking about possibly filling that role. It's just that, other people came in and did a really good job. So you kind of fell into the background.
Yeah, Ultra Cowboy says they're not moving to Tyler from left tackle. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, Ultra. And he also says Tyron will be the right tackle. Steele will be left guard. That's what Gelkin is
That'd be
saying.
interesting.
That's the problem I have.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Phil. That's the problem I have.
I mean, I guess you can't really put Tyron Smith into the guard position.
My problem is moving a Pro Bowler in Terrence Steele, who he was playing at a Pro Bowl level.
Yeah,
and moving him to the other side where he struggled. But
you're also surrounding him, so it's not like you're putting him off to the side. I mean, it's not the switch where they were very notorious for. I don't mind that, but that's if you have a good backup for when, because I don't want all of a sudden Tyron Smith goes down and then you're sticking Steele right back there at right tackle when you shouldn't have effed with it in the beginning. So right, I mean, if you're immediately going to do that, then there's no point in doing that. And you should just figure out who your left guard, because obviously that's, to me, is going to be the least of the positions to fill. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but your center. I mean, obviously Biotish was doing amazing, but I like Lindstrom as well. I like the guy that's right behind him. I know I see some pictures and stuff of him getting some pretty good snaps against Mozzie and everything. So, I mean, I'm interested to see how his development is as well.
Yeah. Matt Willetsko, they had on right tackle.
I wonder how he did.
They really like Matt Willetsko, so, it's just going to be interesting. We're very deep, but undefined as where they're ultimately going to land.
So Geo Auto says, and I think this kind of runs with what we're doing here. Are we keeping Josh Ball on the roster for the 53 or nah?
I would say no, but right now, Josh Ball, OTAs, I understand it's early. I know there's no helmets, but we got to go with what, this is an NFL franchise. They're not going to just throw shit out there now that they don't want to work out. Mm-hmm. He was playing right guard, exclusively right side, and right tackle, Josh Ball. Now, the one thing I did hear per Bryan Broaddus was he has bulked up as far as not fat, like muscle. He's a lot bigger weights-wise. So he must have been in the weight room in the offseason. He must know, along with another guy that I'll get into later in the show, that this is a make it or break it year. Josh Ball has to make it or he gonna get cut.
Yeah.
So he's exclusively right side as of now. So.
Yeah, Jack says there are going to be a lot of people working for those question marks on the offensive line, so it might be really good when it's all said and done. Yeah, I mean, at least you have that. I mean, there's when you talk about potential, I know potential can get you only so far, but it's not bad. I mean, you don't look at these guys and go, ooh, man, this is not like Josh Ball, maybe. I mean, we all kind of have that. We'll see how it goes. I think his availability has kind of always been the question, really. So we don't know how he's playing. We don't know if he's in there, if he plays at an all-pro level, because he's just never available. And we know that can be a bad thing on his own. But when you look at a lot of these other guys, I mean, there is a lot of question marks, but they're not question marks in the sense of, I better find a new guy. It's just more like, there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of talent, and you just don't know what you have yet. And I just don't like the whole switching around and obviously they're trying to get people at different spots, but
now's the time to do it. Yeah. I mean, I get that. Now's the time to really, you put pen to paper and you write it all up, but when you get the boys in, you gotta, put them out on the field and see how they look.
It just
Ultra Cowboy says.
Wait.
No.
I want to hear what you said. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ultra Cowboy said, well, you can see it. Matt Willetsko will be the starting right tackle in 2024, and Steele will get a third-round comp pick. I'm kind of leaning more and more that way, where actually, Ultra, the more I think about it, I think this is going to be Tyron Smith's last year with us. I honestly think that. So I think that Steele will be our right tackle going forward. But, we'll see. That's up in the air. Tyron is better at pass protection than Steele. I do agree with that. But last year, I don't think Tyron Smith played that well at right tackle.
No, I don't think
so.
So
that's
either.
What I'll say, and I'll rely on the people I trust. Bryan Broaddus, among he's my main go-to. He was an offensive lineman at LSU before he was an NFL scout. He said that Tyron did not have a great year at right tackle.
I agree. So I definitely agree.
I think Tyron, this is his swan song this year.
Yeah, I think
he deserves it. Phil. Yeah. He deserves to be the starter this year, but
I think Tyron Smith struggling at right tackle kind of goes to show you that maybe Steele was not getting enough credit, thinking that, I know I was one of those guys who were like, well, Zach Martin's there and he's kind of covering a lot of Steele's flaws, and that might have been so in the beginning, but I think Tyron Smith kind of showed that that's not just the case. I mean, an all-pro like that's not going to always be able to cover your flaws, and Tyron kind of showed that a little bit. We didn't have no, Chaz Green type of incident happening, but there were some worried moments.
Yeah, well, what's up, Mark Hutchin? Welcome to the show, my man. Twiz says June 1st, you will see some, a lot of good players cut to add depth. Mm-hmm. Hey, I got news for you, Twiz. There's a lot of good players available now. there's a lot of players. Just look at your D-line rotation from last year. A lot of those guys are available now, whether you're talking about Ndamukong Suh or Linval Joseph.
Yeah,
these guys don't want no part of OTAs.
Yeah, they just don't want a training camp. They don't want to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for
that. Ultra Cowboy says one full training camp Tyron will be better. And I agree. Hopefully. And he's a Hall of Famer, Ultra.
I hope we get him a championship.
You really got to give credit to what Steele was doing at the time of his injury. Steele was playing at a Pro Bowl level. The numbers are that our running game was a yard better under Steele than it was under Tyron. And Twiz is saying Sue will come back midseason. He'll probably sue the Eagles too. Twiz
could be
I
one of those
championship
contender type of teams. Yeah,
he likes his cheesesteaks, man. I don't blame him.
So anyways,
also Cowboy, I will believe the Cowboys will prioritize signing Biotish over Steele.
That would be okay. I'd be okay with that.
Going to go up.
Yeah.
I don't see Tyler as a guy who's going to want to be. And Tyler finally made his first Pro Bowl as kind of a backup. I said he wasn't a Pro Bowler. He ended up making a Pro Bowl because the first two guys said, no, I don't want to play. Meaning Kelsey out of Philly and maybe, I don't know who the other guy was, but he ended up making a Pro Bowl. But he really took strides. I've been hard on Biotish, Phil.
Yeah, me too.
He took strides this year.
I think you didn't really call his name. I mean, there are some flaws to his game, but I mean, when you look at the size that he is, I mean, what we've expected out of him, I think he's definitely not the weakest link within this team. I like the fact that you have a guy like Lindstrom. I'm not expecting too much from him right now, obviously. I want to see him in training camp. I want to see him in preseason. But I think a guy like that, having somebody like that in the behind him, that's okay. That allows you to kind of really kind of work the contract to Tyler Biotish, because you don't want to go and spend an arm and a leg with it, because I don't think he's that type. But when you look at centers across the league, give me the top five. That's just not a position that you normally can label guys and tell me.
Elena Walker, how are you?
And so I think that's one position you can't really kind of say, okay, give me the top five in that position. So I think when you do have a guy, you should definitely keep him. I just don't want to pay him an arm and a leg for it. So I'm with you.
Welcome, Mark Holmes. Shout out to Mark Holmes. Mark. He's been burning in midnight oil. I miss my buddy. I don't know why, but he's one of those guys, man. You just want to hang out with him and just shoot the shit. But shout out to Mark. He's burning him in the oil. He's getting like 5 hours a night sleep, working all day at the Red Brick House. Can't wait to go see it. We're already, hopefully, sometime this summer we can shoot out there. Shout out to you, Mark.
Yeah. So he's sending us pictures and stuff. Everything looked great, man. He's doing a very hard job. He's doing a very hard work and doing a great job. There we go. But anyways, he
may be hard too, but that's a different
He's like, ooh, look at all this work. Woo-woo.
He's got big hands.
Anybody else on the offense? I mean, we could talk about the wide receivers. I
got all kinds of stuff for you, Phil. Where do you want to go? You want
keep on going. Let's go keep offense. We're going to switch over to defense at some point, but let's continue the offense.
Ready to roll.
The only two positions we haven't talked about is running back and wide receiver. So give me one.
Okay. We're going to go wide receiver, okay? We're going to start out with we're going to go wide receiver. We're going to leave the juicy running back for a little later in the show.
Deuce the juice.
Shout out to the 21. We got 21 in here now.
Oh, what's up?
We have a late arriving crowd, so that's fine.
Like Mark says, took a nap.
Turpentine. He is now, all of a sudden, he is getting a lot of run at wide receiver, which is what we called for. Mm-hmm. Did we not, Bill?
Brian Stottenheimer was probably there going, just use Turpin!
Just fucking run a 9 route.
Oh my God!
Sorry, but I had to say it.
You know what? Turpin with the curl route is going to be amazing. Like, get out of here, Kellen. Get out of here, Kellen. No, you don't understand. The curl route is where it's at.
Dude, I hope you need to have a drop for that, man. Come on now. Turpentine working a lot at wide receiver. I got news for you, people. He better, show something at wide receiver, or he's a cut candidate.
Yeah,
because
I'm okay with having him as our sixth receiver.
BS, freaking kickoff rule. Did you hear about the new rule?
No. Okay, so this I've been hearing people complain about. I don't actually know what the rule. I didn't see what it was, but I have heard people talking about how, okay, well, you got these guys a special teamer, and it's going to be nothing. So is it? Are we doing ridiculous. The XFL? Are we doing the XFL rule where you have to wait till they catch it?
Anything inside the 25-yard line, fair catch. It could be at the 5-yard line, Phil. It goes out to the 25. Anything inside the 25-yard line, if you fair catch it, so if it's a booming kick that's fair caught at the 10, and you wave your hand, you go to the 25-yard line. That's horrible. That's horrible. Andy Reid, shout out to Andy Reid. Super Bowl winning coach Andy Reid, Twiz. Shout out to him. He said, this is like flag football. You're taking everything out. And shout out to Turpentine, because Cavante Turpin said, no worries, I ain't fair catching shit anyway. Yeah, you better not. But I mean, all kidding aside, if the ball's at the 5-yard line, you put your, you know what you're going to see, Phil? You're going to see a lot more low line drive, like squib kicks, trying to get the momentum with the ball, heading out. You know what I mean? This isn't punts. This is kickoffs. So
well, I mean, if we're going to go ahead and do this crap, might as well just kick it out of bounds as well and allow them to
I don't like it.
If you can kick the ball out of bounds in the 5-yard line, then you get them to be pinned back at the bullshit. 5. I think you should counter it as well. I think there's always a counter. Hey. So there's certain times, like for example, there's rules that I don't like that they just haven't been changed. Like for example, I'm a very big when it comes to, like, let's say an offense is going in, about to score, and they're at like at the 4-yard line. Let's say at the 4-yard line, the defense all of a sudden jumps, and they half the distance to the goal. That's 2 yards. But if the offense jumps, it goes back. It doesn't go back. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not even. So I think if you have half a distance to the goal, you should be half the distance same the opposite way. So I mean, I think they should counter it. I mean, obviously,
I never thought of that, man. That's actually a good point, man. You're a lot smarter than I thought you were. That was impressive. I never thought of that. I'm playing.
No, it's true. I mean, there's certain times where I get irritated by some of these penalties and how it kind of goes. There's certain times where I have chuckled a little bit. When you had Coach.
What up?
What's his name from Tennessee when he was Coach Vrabel? The linebacker.
Yeah, Vrabel. Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, where he was doing that against Belichick, where he was doing the I don't know. He was doing something where he was allowing the clock to run out. They kept taking the penalty, which was causing the game to keep clock going. And it was basically what Belichick had done like a season before. So he's using his own thing against him. But it's just crazy when some of those rules, just favor one team over the other. Sorry, I got in a little rant there.
Ultra Cowboy is
what's Ultra
really
Cowboy
down on Mike. Or Jalen Tolbert. He's down on him. Ultra, you may be right. I can't lie and say I know for a fact.
Like you look at him and you're like, he looks like he can bust out. He's looking a lot good.
Yeah.
He looks like he can bust out.
Go ahead.
He's one of those guys. Like you go. Jabril Cox, I think, is another guy where you're like, oh, okay, he could be somebody, and then they never play him. And I think that was what happened last year.
Too, by the way, Ultra.
And I think that's what happened last year with
South Carolina or not.
I think it was South Carolina, Jaguars, something like that.
Yeah, or South Carolina State or like one of the. It was a Group 2 school.
Yeah.
1AA type school. What I did say, Ultra, is that his first year, even at that level, he only had less than 20 catches. Just give him a chance, man. Give him a chance, Ultra. But there is the chance he can be cut, or there is a chance he could take a major step forward. So I think that's the reason why we're not going to go after a guy like Hopkins, because Tolbert It's kind of like a Hopkins without, believe it or not. I know. Once he got his footing, he did have a great senior year.
So you're like, we want DeAndre Hopkins, and they're all like, we got DeAndre Hopkins at the house.
We got DeAndre Hopkins for $1 million and not 18 mil or whatever he gonna want. So let's just see. But we really don't need DeAndre Hopkins. You know,
I just don't want to see him go to.
Tolbert stepped up, Phil. Yeah. It would be nice, but we really don't need him to step up because we got
available money by the end of the week. By the end of the week, you got some available money sitting there. So let's see.
Yeah.
It's kind of
you're right. See what happens. Good call.
So I mean, there might be a reason why you don't see a delay. Maybe there's talks. Hey, we agree. We have open money coming on June 1st. You know, let's add something there. We've already got everybody signed when it comes to the rookies. So I mean, right there, that's money that's available. So it's interesting, especially when you go into where all these talks that Bryan had been bringing up with guys that are right on that cusp. You cut Jay Lou because he could open up $5 million for Jay Lou. There's Hooker. We love Hooker, but it's just there's money that could be.
There's a lot of weird moves that could happen. Yeah. You know, now that you brought up Hooker, they're actually throwing boss man fat at safety in the OTAs. So it's like, what's going on there? He's a big time special teamer. Malik don't play special teams. I'm not sitting there saying he's going to beat out Malik. I think Malik's on the team, but boss man needs to step up. Or yeah, I know, Mark, right? Yeah, I hear you. His head's already big, dude. It's going to get huge. But yeah, Malik is going to be on the team, but the boss man needs to either crap or get off the pot.
Oh
basically.
My God, yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so before we jump over there, let's
jump back. Second round pick.
Yeah, let's jump back to the offense and talk about these receivers. Now, it's not surprise, I think, unless barring injury and you're hoping none of that stuff happens. Who's your number one? CeeDee Lamb. Who's your number two?
Yes.
Brandon Cooks. Who's your number three? Michael Gallup.
Gallup is
who's your number 4 and 5? Who's your number 4 and 5?
Oh, that's what
to me. It's easy. Simi and Jalen. I mean, whether it's Jalen Tolbert and then Simi Fehoko, that's your 4 and 5, and then your 6th possible receiver that might make this roster is going to be, of course, Turpin. I mean, Turpin, if you're putting him more into the offense of how it goes,
and you're forgetting about Dennis Houston, who we let friggin' Mark Holmes's guy, my guy, John Ridgway, hang out in the damn wins, thinking we could get him to the practice squad because we had to keep Dennis Houston, the wide receiver, our 6th wide receiver. Well,
yeah, so that's where I would see. I think those are kind of set again, unless you're bearing some kind of some injuries or something that's happening. I just again, Hopkins comes into the mix. That'll definitely mix some stuff up there. But I mean, you really have that kind of set. So these guys coming in there is just. But okay, now go into your running back. Give me some running backs. What are we going in the running back situation?
Reaper's coming at you, man. The Reaper said, "How is Simi your 4?"
Okay, see that's how it wasn't.
Played a snap.
I wasn't playing Simi as 4.
Phil,
I was talking Jalen and Simi, both 4-5, 5-4, whichever way you want to do it.
Like Simi, I'm with the Reaper. Simi had to show me squat. He has the speed.
So maybe Simi's your 6th receiver.
Size. He just hasn't done shit. Yeah. He needs to step up.
Well, maybe then he's your 6th receiver. But he's the guy, one of those guys that's going to make it. I mean, whether you put him 1 through 5, to me, the bottom of that is Turpin.
I'm telling you now.
That's exactly what I feel.
He's 4.
So, we'll forget 4.
No, it's 5
Turpin
and
could
6,
be 5, and then 6 could be Simi. I just don't see.
I got news for you, Phil. Turpin may not be on the team if he can't show he can be a receiver.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw him in the USFL being a receiver. And he was amazing. So.
I know that, but that's the USFL. It's just like our high school guy. I'm not saying I don't like him.
I saw him on the soccer field playing and stuff like that. Well, that's a soccer field. Yeah, I get it.
He was playing for right. He was playing for the FC Richmond.
Okay, so Reaper's Turpin should be 4. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Turpin being 4. I just you just kind of know
Reaper,
who your guys are.
He needs to actually do something though at the receiver. So we will see.
Yeah, the ball is as big as him when he catches it. It's like catching a watermelon. It's kind of crazy.
Ultra Cowboy brings something up that I was calling for last year, and I was shocked that he made the team.
So Reaper, does Simi make the team in your eyes? Does Simi not make the team, or is he your 6th guy?
Fehoko,
I mean,
I have a feeling he's going to be a cut.
Okay.
I do. Because I don't know that he's going to step up. He
wouldn't be surprised.
He hasn't really been hurt.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I'm rooting for the guy. He's got the size and the speed, but ultimately, you got to be able to do something in the preseason games. That's what's going to be the telltale. I hope they don't keep Tolbert just because.
Yeah, Reaper, wasn't it? The Raiders and the Dolphins used to play on the baseball field. I remember that.
Yeah, right. And right. The Raiders played it.
And the Dolphins.
Oakland, right. Yeah, Glen Age. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, okay. So, give me your running backs. Let me give me your running back news, because obviously this is where I'm interested in, because nothing is guaranteed in this position. I think this is the one position you're not guaranteeing anything.
Well, the running back,
maybe the one too.
Be ecstatic. You got to be ecstatic that Pollard was full go in the OTA. I understand they didn't have helmets, but he was running around. Everybody, me included, was saying, "Oh, well, he might be limited." No, he was ready to roll. So, and the quote coming from head coach Mike McCarthy was, "Pollard is ready for a full load." So, Pollard is ready to go. He
doesn't have any question marks behind him. Is Zeke going to be the guy? Is this going to be the guy? Is that going to be?
Zeke's not coming back.
Well, no, and I know Zeke that, but he had that last year. I mean, there was just all that in the air, and he had to say the right things, and so now you can kind of push all that to the side and just be the dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And interesting quote. We'll get to the rookie in just a minute, but interesting quote or interesting factoid was that Malik Davis was getting work with the ones, with Pollard working on the side. Now, Pollard did work and then he did start out with the ones, and then he kind of was working on the side. Malik Davis was the main guy in the huddle in front of Ronald Jones, which I was telling you, Phil.
Yeah, I'm not big on
Ronald Jones may not necessarily make that's
what Reaper's saying.
He may not. Remember, he was with Kansas City, and he was buried way down even after their injury at running back, and they went with Isaiah Pacheco, a seventh-round running back, about 20 minutes west of me here.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, all of a sudden, Pollard just needs a rest. Is it going to be Deuce Vaughn, or is it going to be Robert Jones? I definitely think Deuce is definitely more where you complement what Tony Pollard is doing. I think there's certain situations like, okay, well, we want a back that's going to just really ram it in there and get those 1 yards and 2 yards, and you're hoping that maybe your fullback that you sign, Hunter Lemke or something like that, Lemke.
Hunter Lemke, he got full go with our fullback.
So to me, you have a guy like that, and so if you can have another one that complements what your first running back does, or even your first quarterback, I think that's the reason why I was really big on Hendon Hooker going into this draft, was because it was a guy that if Dak was to come out, you're running the offense the exact same way, because the Ravens are very known for doing that. You just don't have that. You didn't have that quarterback last year that could, he was okay. He wasn't great at decision making. So I think when you have a quarterback or a running back, or I guess your only receivers are probably the opposite. But if you have anybody that's close to the same as your starter, you're going to be amazing when they just rest for a little bit. So I'm with you for as well. Jeff Lee, what's going on? I'm with you as well, though, too.
Lee,
and Reaper, I just don't think Ronald Jones makes this roster unless he just lights it up somehow in the preseason.
Unless there's an injury. You hate to say that.
Rico Dowdle. An injury. What's going on with Rico? Is he even a thing?
Well, let's remember again, Mark Hutchin, good call, Phil. Rico was re-signed, so they like Rico. Rico did a fine job in preseason. So Ronald Jones, as a vested veteran making more money, is going to have to really stand out. So we'll see. But you brought up the running backs. Deuce Vaughn. Did you guys hear about what Deuce Vaughn did at OTAs? I know it's only shells, but did you hear, Phil?
He put on his dad's shoes. He looked ridiculous. Okay, so go ahead. No.
Yeah, well, they were, they were doing this drill, okay, where the running backs, it was basically 7-on-7.
Okay.
The running backs had to shoot laterally to a cone. Okay, the linebackers, or trailing them, it's basically flag football or two-hand touch. They're basically trying to make a tackle, but you can't go at him until he gets to a cone. Okay, you have to run not laterally, but they have to run diagonally to a cone and then up the field.
Kind of like a rail route.
Nobody, exactly. Nobody could touch him. He was going out to the cone, circling the cone, and then he could go any direction. Nobody could put hands on the guy, and they said he looked unbelievably quick. Not fast, because I know his times weren't great. But like I told you before, the dude is shifty. Mm-hmm. In the open field, as small as he is, it's going to be hard to one-on-one tackle this guy.
Yeah, I think Darren Sproles helping him and working with him is going to be amazing.
We need to get the ball in this guy's hand in space.
Yeah.
He's a great catcher of the football. So that was the best thing coming out of this OTA, was how he looked against established linebackers. Very, very impressive. So, and even DBs couldn't, put their hands on him. So I was happy. Yo, what's going on, Brooklyn Joe? Welcome to the show, my man.
Hope you're feeling better, man. But yeah,
$13 million for 3 running backs is about 4.3 for each one. Pollard will be gone next year.
I think, unfortunately, I think
see what happens.
Unless somehow he's able to, the value of the running back market kind of keeps going down. Maybe that'll help when they go to resign.
That's what I was saying.
So I could see him resigning with that. Yeah. No. But you already put a nice complimentary piece. I think Malik Davis was serviceable. I think if you give him enough opportunities, he showed some flashes last year. I wouldn't go in there thinking, okay, that's our starting running back, but I think he's serviceable for a game or so.
Right.
But Deuce Vaughn, I think you're right. I think that's a weapon all in itself. So whereas the passing game, the running game,
25 people in the chat.
I don't like the whole possibility of him pass blocking, because that's that's kind of a little scary. But I think he definitely has the body build to do it. Phil. Yeah. Oh, that's true. So, yeah, you won't have to do
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to take our 7 step drops time and time again. 1, 2, 3, bam. Hopefully. This is all I'm curious to see what version of the West Coast we're going to run.
Yep.
But the exciting part is that I don't see Mark Holmes in here, or he's probably listening. More tight ends on the field is a good thing. So everybody's worried about who our 5th and 6th receiver is. I ain't. Give me CD. Give me Gallup, who's looking like his normal self again. Give me Brandon Cooks, and give me our tight ends. Let's roll.
So
I don't need 6 receivers.
Would you be okay? Like, I'm gonna throw something a little wrench
Sugar
in
Daddy,
there. Chat, tell me what you would do. Would you give away? Would you say, okay, I'm going to cut Simi and maybe bring a guy like Hilton back in?
Yeah. Well, I think Hilton is one of those guys who's not going to be involved in training camp. He's home with the fam. He's home with the kids, having catch in the yard, he's going to get them ready for school in September. If we suffer an injury, football is a war of attrition. There's going to be injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever that is, don't be surprised if you see him back.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think Gio
and that's
Otto.
Fine. Just like Twiz is talking, and Dominic and Sue, Linville Joseph, whoever, they're on the speed dial with the Eagles.
I'm interested to see what Dalvin Cook, that whole situation as well. Just because he can be a guy that can be that complimentary back to what Pollard would have. A speedy guy. Then you got a guy that has some speed.
Dalvin Cook, man.
So that's an interesting one as well.
What world are we living in, Phil, that he's not on the team? He could possibly be cut.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
But anyway, so let's go ahead and shift to the defense. I think the first thing that we'll talk about is the subject that you were talking. You were talking about the safeties. You were talking about how Boss Man Fat, playing a little bit of safety, slot corner.
Yeah, he was playing the safety.
So I mean, is that a possibility of just backing up or maybe a replacement or just getting him a situation that's going to give him a chance to kind of succeed? I think right now he has such a bad stigma about him right now, and so are you just putting him like in a Mukwamu where you're just going to give him out there, let him float, let him look at the defense, let him see everything in front of him?
I think Kelvin Joseph is life support is what I think. I think he needs to mature and step up and actually be able to cover a receiver. I don't care if you're playing safety or DB. Now's the time. You want to talk about cut candidate? That's Kelvin Joseph. Give me Nashawn Wright. Did you see what he did coming down the stretch and in the playoffs? And I saw a stat, Phil. You're going to get a kick out of this. Our defensive backs, we have, I think, 13 on a roster. 10 of them are over 6 foot. Kelvin Joseph is not 6 foot. So, it's time to crap or get off the pot, Kelvin. You need to be able to play defense.
Yeah.
So, I think he's fighting for a job, my man.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at the rest of the secondary, I mean, let's kind of focus on the secondary. You got Diggs on one side. You got Stephon Gilmore on the other side. That's a great thing to be happy about. Obviously, bearing injuries and everything, that stuff happens. You got Bland there. You got some guys that are questionable. They have had some flashes as well. So I think the fourth, the fifth, possible sixth corner, I think that's where you want to find your value. And so, yeah, I mean, you don't know what you have in an Eric Scott yet. But, again, the Al Harris and all of them have very high hopes when it comes to what he can do. They compare him a lot to Bland. How's Bland going to come out in the second year? I mean, I think really kind of that first season where you see rookies kind of hit that wall and then all of a sudden they don't perform, they get tired or something like that. Bland not having that whole first part of the year playing, I think he was able to kind of show what he could do throughout the year. He didn't all of a sudden just go, okay, he dropped off and he wasn't the same guy anymore. No, when they needed him the most to step out to the outside position, he was able to hold himself out there as well, too. So I think it puts Dan Quinn in a great position to be able to rotate these corners. And if you have a guy that you really want covered, you could put Stephon Gilmore or Diggs into the slot, also covering these guys. So I think you can mix and match into this position. It's just what else do you have in that depth? And, of course, the safety position, you got Kurz coming back. Kurz going to be in 27, not in 0. He says for technical reasons. I think the technical reasons is that he couldn't pay for all the jerseys he had to pay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's technical. So I think Overshown could be your number 0. But anyway.
I brought that up in my video the other day. The surprise, Jaron Curse is not taking 0. That was all a joke on Twitter, I guess. He's sticking with 27, so 0 was still up. Come on, DeMarvian.
I think starting the season, Geo Auto says, "Who's your strong for the start of the season?" I think you can put all 3 of them in. You can start each one of them, whether you're putting them into a linebacker position, but you can put this, you can put all 3 of those safeties in there and just really have fun with it.
Here's my thing with that. If you're going to talk about one area of our team that needs to develop, I'm excited about, but it has to develop, is our linebacking core. We need, everybody in the chat, we need DeMarvian Overshown to be a regular in the linebacker. He has to be a starter in the linebacking core. If not a starter, he has to be a regular, If he comes out as just a special teamer and a spot player, then that's not a good thing, because outside of Van Der Esch, everybody is forgetting about Clark. Are you there, Phil?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just reading the comments. Continue.
Okay. It was awful quiet. I don't hear the music.
No, it resets.
Just remember, people. Mike is going to play mainly edge. I don't care what they say. He's bulked up. His teammates are, breaking his stones in the locker room. They see it. It's just more of he needs to stay healthy. Towards the end of the year, he was getting worn down. He was getting little nicks and bruises. He put on some much needed muscle, more muscle. But we need our linebacker core. Is the one question mark is how is it going to develop? Is Jabril Cox going to make it?
So there's certain linebackers that you're going to put in there you're not taking out. Who is that? You got Damone Clark, I think, is to me falls into that category of linebackers you're going to keep in there. Maybe occasionally comes out. When he comes out, that's when you're putting your.
Well, that's the thing I was getting into, though, Phil.
Yeah.
Damone Clark. Everybody has to remember, and I'll let you continue your thought. I apologize.
No, you're good. You're
good. Last year he wasn't expected. Dallas Cowboys were the one team who did all the tests because they liked what they saw.
Sugar Daddy.
Okay. They found the injury that he needed to have a neck fusion. He was not expected. Yeah, he was expected to come back, Phil, but he wasn't necessarily expected to come back as a rookie to really contribute that much. And yet he was thrust into a major role.
Mm-hmm.
He's already more healthy, more in shape. He was rehabbing last year, Phil.
Yeah.
He was rehabbing. Now he's actual in football shape, mentally ready for the position. Dude, that's a huge difference between college. I don't care if it's LSU, coming into the NFL and having to do what he did. Very impressive, but expect him to have a huge jump. So between him and Van Der Esch, if Overshown can step up, my God, Twiz, you are in deep, deep shit. I'm sorry, but that's just, that's what's exciting. You said talk about the defense. What's Jabril Cox he needs to step up. Am I wrong, Phil?
Yeah. Jabril Cox, I mean, we say that. I think the coaching staff, to me, needs to step up. You need to play the guy.
Glimmerman, what up?
I don't think we were ranting and raving about too many linebackers last year other than Parsons and maybe LVE when he wasn't in there. But Damone Clark came in there, was able to shine. And so you were just wondering what was going on with Cox. Why isn't he getting those opportunities? And so that's the only part. It's just like, they've been right about offensive linemen when it comes to steal and you get we're going to shove him in there. People are like, no, you shouldn't shove him in there. And then they're like, no, trust us, man. Just don't worry about him. And then it becomes this whole, all pro. And so we are like, okay, we want to see Jabril Cox and everything. And they're just like, nah. And then Tolbert, what they're seeing something. They're obviously seeing stuff in practice. When we see all of a sudden a film or something of them, we're not seeing the whole practice. We're not seeing if he's dropping passes. He's not reading the routes right. I can't really trust him to be out there and run his route correctly. We're just not seeing that. I think that's where, we have high hopes for Jabril Cox, and I think opportunity will allow him. But who left all of a sudden that he's going to get all these new opportunities? I mean, Anthony Barr wasn't taking up all this time. Anthony Barr goes out, and now you got Overshown, but where's it change for him? I think, other than he needs to step up and actually do it, I think that's the only way he gets more time.
Yeah, I think he's in trouble, Phil, because
that's true.
There's a guy that I really like that's awesome on special teams and is unbelievably fast, who is also I think he's fighting with Jabril, and that's Devin Harper. I really liked Devin Harper out of Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a good problem to have. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's not like before where you didn't know who to put out there. You're like, just give me somebody, Now it's like, oh man, I just want to give everybody opportunity. Yeah, man. And so that's why when you get injuries, you get, you talk about injuries, they can wreak a season. You can have this all-star team, but once the injuries start piling in, it's the backups. What happens when your backups come in? Again, you look at any of these Super Bowls, eventually at some point, your starting quarterback, your backup quarterback needs to come in and produce for a game, and you don't make it to the, this is, teams have had to deal with this all the time. I mean, even for example, we're going to give them credit, but even with Philly Super Bowl, they had to have their backup come in and do something. And that's what we had last year. I mean, we had that defense. Somebody would step down, and then all of a sudden that next guy would go, man, what is Dorrance Armstrong doing over there? There was other guys going, okay, next man up, next man up, next man up, and everybody was performing. So that's what I like about this team.
Yeah. And you know who else got work at linebacker? Now that you brought the defense up and linebacker, Isaiah Lands, the rookie. They're saying he is huge and fast out there.
See, and that's where you see
school.
Yeah,
they had him playing linebacker, Phil.
That's what I'm saying. So, man. Like, you don't know. Yeah,
the names keep coming, man. I know they're not all going to work out, but when you see, who stood out? This isn't the Cowboys saying it. These are the people that I trust that are saying, who really stood out there? And they said, Isaiah Land was a man amongst boys at times out there. As a rookie out of a small school, he had 19 sacks last year in college.
That does.
I
mean,
that
means
he's
you're doing
transition
shit right.
to the linebacker.
Yeah, you're doing stuff right.
Good luck, Jabril. Good luck. Yeah, that's all I can say.
And that's the truth. I mean, but when you look at Lands, I mean, you're kind of putting Lands in that same position
after
as you're
35 people in the chat.
Micah Parsons, for example. Yeah, Micah Parsons is a linebacker. We want to move him everywhere. I agree, man. Move him everywhere. Make the mismatches and stuff. But I still think that he should be rushing that quarterback, helping the running game and all that. Not to say that he can't cover, and that's awesome because he's extremely fast. But no, man, if you're going to put that position like you kind of do with Javon Curse and Wilson and Overshown possibly. We got this safety that likes to play linebacker. Well, guess what? We have this linebacker that likes to play right in, and I think you should have a backup for that position. And a guy like Lands is a great backup for that position. Sam Williams obviously is going to be doing his thing, but I think he's in the normal rotation.
Here we go, Mark. I'm forgetting about guys. Sam Williams. Phil did it again. Sam Williams is going to be a beast this year. Go ahead, Phil.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, I'm dropping names because do we have a lot on this roster? There's a lot of names on this roster.
It's scary.
It is.
It's scary.
It's crazy. And I'm again, you got to take
They're young.
Push it, the helmet and what's on the side of the helmet to the side and look at the roster. The roster is crazy when it comes to the defense. This is the questionable offensive line, and it's not extremely questionable. It's just they need to find their own success.
Well, that was what I told Mark on last Sunday. That's my main fear. It's not a fear. I want to see it develop into be dominant.
My fear is the kicking game.
You just said it. It's the O-line, the kicking game. I got shit on the kicking game whenever you're ready. So
and that's what I saw. Mark is right. They were working with D Ware, and that's amazing because. I mean, you look at some of D Ware's moves where he did the fake, where he was going to pretend to spin, but he did the half fake and ran back the other way. He's got a hell of an arsenal when it comes, and if he can just pass on any of that, that's great for this defense, especially if you're guys like Sam Williams, where you see him in the picture. Sam Williams is right there with him, and Sam Williams, if he can again continue to add the arsenal of moves, he's going to be amazing. He was amazing without the moves coming out of college because he could get around guys, but you can't do that totally in the NFL, so you really need to be able to watch those moves. So at the end of the year, you could see Sam Williams, he's swimming, he's spinning, he's, doing all this stuff. Now, what can D Ware teach him as well, too? So I like it. Thank you, Sugar Daddy.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. Yeah. Shout out to Sugar Daddy Williams. If you guys are into video games, check out his YouTube channel. Me and my kid watch it all the time, and he does look like a lot of Grand Theft Auto. I love that game. So shout out to Sugar Daddy. Mark Hutchin, do you all see Lewis sticking around? I don't know, Phil. What do you think about Lewis?
Like, are we talking about Lewis, the corner? Is that who we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
I don't think there's anybody else.
Yeah, we're going to hit the chat a little bit. Jordan Lewis.
To me, if Lewis is healthy, I want Lewis on this team.
Think about what we got.
Yeah.
Think about what we got, Phil, right? Yeah. And think about no injuries. Now, that's a big thing.
If I could turn off the injury, hit me an injury thing on the Madden, and I would take J. Lou all the time.
The old Madden, no injury. Yeah.
But no, when I talk to Lewis, when I think about Lewis, whether he's a great slot corner, and so if he's your fourth corner in a dime package, for example, I'm okay with that, man. He can play man coverage like crazy, and so I'm okay. But if he's healthy, I don't want him taking up a roster spot because we're afraid that he's going to be picked up. I like him being on the roster.
I'm glad you said that because I'm with you. And I was early on listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm looking at over the cap, and I see that his cap hit you could save close to $5 million if you let him go.
Thank you, Angelica.
You get caught up with the numbers, right?
Yeah.
You get caught up. But if we're truly out to win a championship, I want Jordan Lewis on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's cut Boss Man. Let's cut
I'm okay with Boss Man being the 5
special teamer.
But it depends on who you're cutting as well in your 5. You know?
I'd rather keep Nashawn Wright. Nashawn Wright stepped up
I would
in the
agree.
playoff.
I would agree. I think I would do.
So, so now we got
Nashawn Wright. You got Israel Mukwamu, I think. So, I mean, is he your safety?
There he is.
Or is he your corner? So, I mean, I would take him over Boss Man.
No, he's a corner now.
Yeah.
I don't know why we would not. If we're moving Boss Man to safety, we got Malik Hooker, we got
Bell,
Donovan Wilson, we got J-Ron Curse, we got the kid out of Vineland, New Jersey, who we drafted last year.
Yeah,
help me out with the name.
Marquez Bell.
Yes, Marquise Bell.
Marquise Bell, sorry.
No, sorry. The fact that they're moving Boss Man Fat to safety is the equivalent of moving Alarcon to defense. You're gone.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is you don't, and I think audio he knows, but at least you don't have Anthony Brown on this roster. I think that was the big one that I just needed them to move on. It's kind of like Garrett.
I get it.
Kind of like Garrett, Kellen Moore. You're like, okay, man, it's time for you to be kind of go. Like, just you can go. You don't have to go home. You just get the hell up out of here. Just one of those guys for me. And so with Anthony Brown being gone, I'm okay with that, man. So, I mean, would you bring him back for your 5th corner? Maybe a 5th corner. But I don't want him being my starting corner for sure.
Well, here's the deal. Phil. We got to get through OTAs. I've seen major injury happen in a damn OTA, let alone training camp.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to let it all play out. We did just couch up by saying if we hit the Madden button with no injuries.
Oh, yeah. Who would we cut?
What would we do? Now, we all know that there's guys that are on this team now that we have locked in. God forbid, something's going to happen. They're going to miss 6 weeks, and they're going to start out the year on PUP.
See, Glimmerman, I understand what you're talking about. I think the depth is where I would miss him. If you bring Anthony Brown back for the depth, just in case somebody goes down, I'm okay. I just don't want him being that guy day in, day out, every single game. He has to perform at top level or we're screwed. I would rather
Anthony Brown as our
4th or 5th
cornerback. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need him stepping up. I want to go young. We have our 2 lockdowns. Good luck. Let's talk about that for a second, people. Twiz, if you're still in the house, it's not like you have, it ain't like you have our main guy, Diggs, and then a so-so guy opposite that you're going to try and pick on.
Yeah.
Now you have Diggs and Gilmore. Okay, Diggs and Gilmore. And you have Bland, who was coming on as the season progressed. Ended up with, 5 INTs or 6 INTs? Okay, good luck throwing the ball with our defense.
Yeah.
Coming at you and wait.
I think you're gonna have your flashes of success. I mean, it always has. I mean, Diggs loves to kind of gamble. Sometimes it doesn't pay off for him, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I was very frustrated for almost seems like a decade of Byron Jones. I loved Byron Jones, but he never attacked the football.
He was Mr. Very close, but he was a great tackler.
And
he
so
just couldn't come up with an INT.
And so when I see somebody kind of gamble, look at him getting burnt here. Well, it's because he's going for the interception most of the time. I mean, when you go a season with 11 interceptions, you're going to get burnt occasionally here and there. And so when you got another guy like Stephon Gilmore, where his is more strategic, he's getting those interceptions, but it's because of how he's playing.
Your ass.
Yeah,
Jalen. Jalen, throw that out route with that average arm.
And you're not like some of these other guys where they're like, okay, I'm just going to play the man, play the position. No, he's thinking about the situation. He's thinking about the wide receiver, what his tendencies are. This is something I was talking about with Kellen Moore, where I see where Schottenheimer, where the situational football, what happens when the game is on the line? You've had all the success running to the right. What are they going to do this game? They're going to run to the right. It's just you need to adapt. And when you have a corner that can do it on the field and help your defense also adapt. I mean, you're just adding another weapon for Dan Quinn. I just needed that on the offensive side of the ball, and that's what I like about Strattenheimer. Situational football.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm excited. I don't know about you people. I'm ready to roll. Let's go. Let's start training camp.
Yeah, let's skip all of it.
Let's start the preseason games. Let's get it behind us. The only thing about the whole thing is I love summer, so I want to enjoy my summer. I just opened my pool and all that. So I want to enjoy it, but it's coming quick, people. And I'm loving our defense. To me, it's all about the offense. It's all about the highest scoring offense when Dak is in the lineup. It's pretty, but we are changing our offense. Hopefully for the better, man. I hope that works out, because if it works out, Twiz, you could be in trouble. That's all I'm saying. You could be in trouble. You could be.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot to get excited about. Is there a position in there that we didn't talk about on the defense? Okay, well, what about special teams?
Let's talk about special teams. I got a lot. Who do you want to talk about, Phil?
Well, I mean, we talked a little bit about the returner.
We got 30 people in the chat, so we're not going anywhere right now.
So right now, I mean, you got let's talk about the returner. I mean, obviously, the least position is the kicker, because it's just so we don't know what the hell's up. What's going on. We all want gold. I want to
talk about the kicker. Now that you brought him up, you said it. We're talking
you said kicker. You gotta say it now. You said it last.
No. I wasn't. Vizcaino. Okay, Vizcaino. Now, I'm going to couch it. You're going to laugh when I tell you this. In OTA practice, he went 6 for 9. He missed 2 35-yard extra points, what would amount to be extra points. He went 6 for 9. Bones Fossil was holding for him. Bryan Anger wasn't holding for his field goals. So why would you do that, Phil? You don't even know if he really would have missed it, or is Bones a horrible friggin' holder. But my guess is Vizcaino ain't the guy, and we cannot go into the year with this kicker. Your thoughts? Why is Bones holding for this guy?
Yeah, I'm not really positive. Maybe just in the sense that they don't want.
What's going on here? Are you just bored? Fucking guy do.
We're aware. We're maybe kind of have a fear that maybe he's going to kick Angers in the hand, and Angers not going to be able to grab the football in a punt. We don't know. Is this like the little Giants where all of a sudden he's kicking them in the crotch and stuff, and he's like, oh, thank God I made it.
Kick him in the head, Bones.
So I mean,
put him out of his misery.
So. I don't know. I'm with you. I think I'm with a lot of the Cowboy Nation of seeing this, even with Joe Rod, for example. You guys talking about Gold. I mean, Gold is sitting right there. Just sign him, man.
Gold, Jerry.
Yeah.
Gold.
Just go and sign him. Just be over with it. But yeah, I think that's the one part of our team in general that I just question. I don't question the offensive coordinator anymore. I don't question the defensive coordinator. I don't question the head coach too much, because the time management. I think they need to hire somebody. They need to hire somebody for team management. But when you I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, if you hire a coach to make sure that your coach doesn't run out into the field, you can hire a time management coach. We were talking about once Mike McCarthy was able to pick his guy on the defense, Dan Quinn. Boom, that defense switched. Now that Mike McCarthy was able to pick his guy on the offense, I'm hoping that that's going to be the same results, that it's going to click. I think it's going to be a great thing for this offense. We want wide receivers. We want people that are catching in motion, and that's what you're going to see. They're not going to be able to go, oh, no, now start running. No, man, we're tired of these damn curl routes and all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't make any sense for the progression and stuff that was happening. So I'm interested to see all the new aspects for this Cowboys team, but I like that they brought, just like a salt shaker, they brought in the right amount of each ingredient from last year, this year, and they're just mixing it all together, man. I'm interested to see what the buffet is going to look like.
Dude, I love it, man. I love our chat. It's flying tonight. Glimmer Man, get a kicker ASAP. I hate being stressed on extra point. I agree. But the Reaper did say, so many kickers out there. And then followed up at Ultra Cowboys.
There's people. Why are we signing?
Gold's not signing with any team. Well, me, Robbie Gold. That's who I want. But even the guy out of Denver, Bryan, help me out with the name.
What's up?
Bryan who was the Denver kicker? He was cut. Bryan something, but he had a great leg. Twiz says Go, you're talking about Pennsylvania. He fooled us. Jalen's different. He's committed. I love Jalen Hurts. I always fool, but I love Jalen Hurts.
He's a lot better. He's a lot better than what you had. I mean, you got to imagine.
I'm joking.
You got to be happy sometimes when you're just getting a better position. We suffered how many years with all those quarterbacks before? Yes, I'm not saying Romo was great, but at least Romo was better than a lot of what we had for a good amount of time. So I think.
Yeah. Elena Walker said he didn't progress, and after the concussion, he was not the same. I would assume he was talking about Wentz. The Dallas going down. Dallas ain't going down. Come on now. Brandon McManus. You got it, Nathaniel. I just wanted to see Nathaniel Luciana make a comment. I brought you out. Thanks, bro. Ultra Cowboy. It's Brandon McManus, I think. He did sign with the Jags. Okay. Well, he's off the board. Robbie Gold it is.
Yeah, man. Just get it out. Just get it over with, man. Just shut up and take my money. Just bring him in here. I think that's the question mark. You got some tight. You just got some kickers out there. I mean, again, I've said this a bunch of times.
Shit.
How many colleges are there? I'm not saying that every kicker is graduating from every school, but come on, man. You're going to tell me that many colleges and that many kickers go out? They're not drafting kickers. Give me about 5-6 of those guys. Let's get a reality TV show. What happened to Michael Irvin with the Tough Enough or whatever he had going? Let's get a kicking one in here so we can get a kicker, man.
Do you have a vanilla ice drop, Phil?
No, unfortunately, I do not. Man, it's on my other
Cowboy
computer.
Says Hurts is a 1-year wonder, just like vanilla ice, and that's when you have to have. That would have been perfect. Nathaniel Luciano, my friend, is good friends with McManus. He was at my friend's wedding, and I met him. A great guy. Yeah, I would like to have had him kicking for the Cowboys. That's for sure. Atlanta confirms, yes. Wentz, Glimmerman, sorry, but Hurts will be injured if he keeps being a running QB. I agree, Glimmerman. I think the Eagles' O-line is going to take a step back with Dickerson stepping up as a young player for Siamalu at guard. So, I just think it's never as good as it was last year. I think the Eagles were firing on all cylinders last year. Not to say they're not going to be good. I've already predicted 11 wins for the Eagles, but, it should be interesting. Gold is 40? Really, Ultra? Damn. I didn't know Robbie Gold was 40 years old.
You can do that as a kicker.
Damn, I don't know if I want that. Yeah, he's a kicker, though, man. Come on. He ain't getting hit. Just kick the damn ball.
He's got that special parking before he goes up to he doesn't even have to walk that far to the stadium.
Just give Gold $3 million and go on. You have $22 million on the capital.
Golly,
yeah, I agree.
On, man. It's just
give me somebody.
So
Seems
now
like you're looking for somebody cheap.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shocker. So let's go ahead and go on the opposite side of that. Let's talk about the returning game. Now, when we're talking about kickoff, do you go to the 2 kickoff set where you have Deuce on one side, you have Turpin on the other side? Yes. That way you're getting him involved. If you're going to keep both of them on the team, maybe alternate and kickoff punt returns. Get him in the ball. You want to get him in the ball, get him in space, and I'm okay with keeping Turpin.
I mean, Turpin and Deuce on kickoffs. I like that.
Yeah, so I mean, you put one on each side. I mean, I'm very happy. You didn't have that second guy last year. You're kind of using your backup running backs. It's just not a good situation. But now when you're using it, it's because that's what he's good for. I mean, he's a great runner. It's very slippery. I think Bryan was obviously talking about that. But kickoffs obviously changing as well too. So Turpin had his little things of catching it last year. And that's where I think he needs it. It needs to be a redemption type of year for him. I mean, the preseason, if he got everybody hyped up and got everybody's jumping on the turpentine train and just didn't live.
I was.
Did more negative. Yeah, this is going to be the week. This is going to be the week. This is going to be the week. By the end of the year, this is going to be the week. I'm not even saying it anymore. You know what? I don't even want it anymore. Turpin, keep your damn ball. I don't want a damn touchdown anyways. By the end of it, you're just all frustrated with him. My family came over to watch it, Turpin. You just dropping the ball. What's wrong with you?
My man's My man's fair catch and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, hold up, dude.
That ball's as big as his helmet.
You're there to catch the ball and run, not just.
Yeah.
It was funny.
So, anyways, I would rather him because they're jumping on what you said. Turpin said he ain't fair catching anything. I just don't want him to fumble anything. That's what I want him to not do. Tell me that. I'm not gonna fumble anything.
Shots fired. Sorry, Phil. Shots fired. Ultra Cowboy. I know you can't see him, so that's why I'm reading it.
Tell me.
Do Eagles fans buy the Jalen Hurts jersey for the number that represents their Super Bowl wins? Thinking emoji. That's shots fired right there, Twiz. What do you got? What do you got? Anyway, that was funny. Listen, I'm looking at our cap space right now. As of right now, this second, we have $10.5 million. 10.5, basically 10.5, a little over 10.5 mil. And we get how much? We get just about what, 11?
Yeah,
June
about close
1st?
to 11. Yeah.
So we're going to be
20,
close
20.
to $22 million.
That's why I was thinking with Hopkins. If you're going to do something, that would be the, you're in that hunt. It just depends on if somebody gets it before you.
I think we use that.
You got to put Hopkins in the back. You got to put him in. You got to hide him in the back. That way nobody buys them. Maybe he'll come back on Friday when you get paid and
right.
and actually grab it. Oh no, man! Nobody grabbed the D Hopkins.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Everybody knows that strategy.
I mean, we have a lot of money. I think we have plenty of money to re-sign Diggs and or a CD. I think CD will get done. Hopefully,
we definitely need to start
done.
If
we can get those two done, and still have because you guys have to remember. Just look at the Jalen Hurts deal. Once you re-sign these guys, there's it's gonna create money really, unless they don't want to and they want to take more of a hit this year. But it's gonna create money under the cap, really. So I say do that and make sure you have a little nest egg in case we have an injury. But yeah. Did you hear what Dak said, Phil, in regards to the questioning after the OTAs regarding his interceptions? Did you hear what he said?
I heard some of it. It's different when it's kind of one of those. To me, it's like a nickname. If I give myself a nickname, I'm like, oh, this is my nickname. It doesn't sound as good if you say, hey, this is his nickname, and if somebody else is saying it, then it doesn't sound as offensive.
Primetime.
But the moment that he's like, man, these interceptions aren't my fault, why? Well, we've been saying that, man. Let us say that. You can't. You're not allowed to say that, because if you say it, it just sounds pompous and it doesn't come out right. And I think that's what happens. We all know that half of those interceptions weren't technically his fault, or the smacking of the ball out of the hands, or there's a lot of the situations, but you still get there's still a lot of blame there. When you look at his footwork, he was very unsettled. He never really settled his feet underneath him. He always seemed to be throwing off his back foot, and his offensive line wasn't giving a lot of pressure. So to me, there's some parts that are your fault, but obviously all of it wasn't his fault. So I get what he's saying, but I just don't think it came off correctly.
Yeah, well, he didn't mean it as... And let's just, rewind a little bit. There's not a better teammate than Dak Prescott during the season. After a win, he always says, this guy did a great job, that guy did a great job. He's never saying, I did a great job. In losses, he always takes the blame, right? Phil, he always says, I need to do a better job. He during the season, he's more than willing to take the hit. What he's not going to do in a potential...
Yeah. No, I was just saying I'm okay with when he says, oh, I need to improve this and da-da-da. Where I hated when Romo was more like, well, that happened, that sucks.
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah, well, that's where, with Romo and Garrett, under Garrett, I just hated how they didn't address the shit. It was just more like, well, that happened. And then they would just no, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to keep on going forward. You're like, dude, what are you doing?
It happened. Coach clap. It did happen. Please address it.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why when I saw him on
announcing for the XFL.
That's why when I saw him on HBO, I was like, oh, look, he can cuss and everything. Just like he just has that image that he's trying to portray.
Oh yeah, right.
You're like, dude, man, cuss at somebody.
All he was saying was, McCarthy likes to. McCarthy has a a rep for not always being there 24/7 at the facility. Let's just say that. Not that he's not a good coach. He is a Super Bowl win coach, but I'm not saying he's burning the midnight oil in the facility. That's his rep. So when he said he was going to go over every interception that was thrown, Dak said, well, we didn't really go over. Basically, that is a false statement. We didn't sit down and watch every interception. But now people got to remember, Dak very well could be redoing his deal. They're actually probably going to happen in training camp to free up yet more money to sign maybe even Parsons, in the offseason.
Awesome. I would be okay
they
with that.
Yeah, but they want to extend Dak as well to lower his cap number. And he's not going to want to be on record as saying, yeah, I need to do a better job regarding interceptions. As we know, a lot of those interceptions happened on those two-way routes where the receiver and the quarterback have to be on the same page.
Yep.
And a lot of that offense is going to be gone. They're going to keep the shit that worked. Like I keep telling people, the two-way routes also create big plays.
Well, I think that's where you saw some things. Okay, like for example, I'm gonna go negative a little bit here. When I look at CeeDee Lamb, I love what CeeDee Lamb has become. I really like his body of work. When you put him in the slot, you get him in motion. His arrogance is just enough, not too much, not too little. He definitely is a wide receiver diva, but not to the point where he's bitching and moaning about the ball not being thrown his way. The one thing I would say, if I had to say negatively about his game, is he doesn't come back to the ball. The ball's being thrown. If it's not hitting him in stride, he's just kind of like,
why
well,
that is,
shit.
though, right?
He doesn't want to get. I don't know if he's protecting himself.
Well, I think
thing.
he wants a little run after the catch. He wants to get to the house.
But either way, he's not coming back to the ball, and I think that's where you see some interceptions happen. I see flaws. Every guy has a flaw in some way.
Everybody's got a flaw. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just, it doesn't come out all the time, and I think that's the same thing with Dak, for example. I mean, he definitely has his flaws in the sense of reading that zone. You can't say that he does not see that one linebacker that sits in that defensive end position, and it's in this blind spot or something that he just throws it right to that linebacker. It's either in the beginning of the game or some point where you need him to kind of step up. He'll throw that, and that's where you have to have the truth. But when it comes down to him, I'm going to pay the guy because of his leadership, and most of the time, 4 out of 5 throws, I'm going to trust that he's going to be right on the money.
Exactly. And
so that's what I'm obviously everybody has their flaws, but I love, his leadership.
He had a lot of confidence. He was just letting it go last year. He was not hesitating, and sometimes the receiver was on the same page, and sometimes, and I have no doubt that in Dak's mind, he knew where to go with the ball. But when you're relying on a Noah Brown as much as they did once Gallup was not he wasn't ready to go.
Yeah, so Gallup not ready to go. This year, that guy in that same spot is going to be Brandon Cooks. Do you feel Brandon Cook comes up with that ball? He might score a touchdown off of that play.
Brandon Cooks is a walk-in 1,000 yards. Everywhere he's been, in any offense, he's been a 1,000-yard receiver. So expect him to have close to 1,000 yards again. That's just a fact. So it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Sugar Daddy says the play designs had some blame as well. I mean, I agree. I definitely. God, that is that is so true. It's extremely true. That's what I think of when I talk about the whole Kellen Moore. When you talk about, what was the guy before, Nolan Smith, right? The defensive coordinator.
Nolan, yeah.
He was
Nolan,
so,
not Nolan Smith.
I'm not going to try to knock his defense because it was so complex.
Mike Nolan.
Yeah, Mike Nolan. Thank you. His defense was so complex that obviously, people weren't going to jump on in his first year, and it made Jalen Smith, for example, play out of position a lot. LVE looked terrible. There was a lot of guys in this defense that just did not look good, and you question their whole career off of how bad that defense was going. But when you look at Dan Quinn and what he's been able to implement, I mean, there's a lot of guys that get to show all different types of talent, where Donovan Wilson wasn't really a guy that we thought a whole lot of 2 years ago. Now he's a guy that was really coming up, getting sacks, for example. Anthony Brown, he got exposed for as well. I mean, there was a lot of things that we saw that maybe we didn't see before. But with the new defense, I mean, I like that any of these guys can almost play any of these positions, and you're surprised when they do. So I'm interested to see if the offense can kind of follow suit and just improve people's careers. I mean, Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah.
Can we improve his career? Can we get Simi talking on that positive?
Shots fired.
Go ahead. Ultra say something.
Walker.
Oh, Elena, here we go.
Walker, let me know. Go ahead, read it off, man.
Let me know when Dak's interceptions get him anywhere. He does throw them in big games, not just last year. Look it up. And it's true. I mean, there are times he'll throw it early.
No, it's not true, man. He doesn't throw them in big games.
No, he will. He will throw it early, for example. He'll throw it, but after that throw, he is money after those throws. And so those things happen. Those times where Dak really kind of like loses focus for a moment and something happens, like he'll throw it through the tight end and the defensive end catches it and runs it in for a touchdown. You're like, what the hell, Dak? Those are moments like that. But after those moments, bam, he snaps out of it and he is money. And so I just want to, if you're going to make those mistakes, at least come back and
drop.
Yeah, come on, at least come back and ball. And I think that's what I like about Dak is that he's able to do that. But there are some times where he throws some interceptions. You're like, dude, that playoff game, there was 2 interceptions that I really feel that were him, and so yeah, there are moments. I just don't think that's every big game.
Yeah, well, listen. Elena's an Eagle fan, and we love her, but you're wrong, Elena. But I'm bummed. The Reaper says, I see CD having 1,450, Cooks having 1,200, and Gallup around 850.
That's some good numbers.
Gallup is looking good, and I like it. So good luck. Yeah, good luck, defense. Like I told Mark last Sunday, it's all right now. I have faith. I have faith in our defense. And all the weapons that we have, we're going to be even better.
I like it. Sounds like Romo. Throw that early pick and then either be on or throw 3 more. That is the damn truth of Romo. Like, I remember early in Romo's career, I'd get into this playoff game and like, all right, here we go, man. We got a chance to win the game. Just need this drive. In the first play of the game, he would throw a pick, and I'm like, oh my God! Like, okay, well, I guess, we don't even need suspense. Let's just get this shit out of the way,
That's funny.
And so then all of a sudden, year 2 or 3, he would get it down the field and he would throw the interception in the end zone, and you're like, okay, well, we're at least progressing. And then later on he became clutch and where he could drive it down the field, definitely score. Washington game, for example, that's where you kind of saw him make that leap. But by the time he could do that, his body just couldn't keep up with him. So I mean, that's what sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, well, listen, man, it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm excited about what's happening now.
It's a young team.
Don't get hyped on the Zeke Elliott or D Hop coming in. I think we're set for now. I think we need to see some of our rookies. I'm excited about what's about to happen, Phil. I hope you are.
I am too.
And I hope that is are.
Yeah. Anything we want to cover? I think we covered almost everything about what's going on.
I mean, I have a shit ton, but we've already been going for an hour and a half. I think we're good. I think this is a good time. Thank you for everybody stopping by. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, man, I appreciate everybody.
The Reaper. One more thing. The Reaper says Dak is 8-3 versus the Eagles. Bang. That's all I need to know, man. He owns you. Come on now. You can beat our backups. All right, carry on.
But anyways, I appreciate everybody coming through, giving us your 2 cents. It's heating up, man. OTAs, it's a sniff of football. You're right around the corner. All of a sudden, you get a little bit more. You get some preseason going, preseason training camp kind of going on, and then you get the preseason, the Hall of Fame game. It's right there. It's football's in the air, and at least going. Trust me, man. We're gonna try to figure it out.
We got a lot coming, baby.
We do. And so again, you check out Bryan's page. He's definitely getting more of a steam rolling on his page as he puts out his content.
And put some stuff. Mark Hutchins, come on now. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's go.
Yeah, get some new material. Man, it's the same shit. Elena, it's the same shit with these Cowboys with Jerry Jones. You know how he is. It's not anything new. We're all Cowboy fans. We know what Jerry likes to do. He get us all riled up and then just kind of I tricked you. You know, you bought a jersey.
Yeah.
So anyways, I appreciate everybody coming through. Ultra Cowboy, I apologize not being able to put your stuff on there. But everybody else, I really...
That's your homework,
I still got to figure out. He's not on the block list, so... but anyways, I appreciate everybody coming through, hitting that like button, hitting the share button, giving me your 2 cents about what you think is going on in the OTAs. Should Josh Ball be on this team? Should guys like... do guys like Jabril Cox get more of an opportunity? Should Jalen Tolbert have an amazing thing? He looks like he's on shape, but is he in football shape? So there's a lot of questions going in, even though this roster looks amazing going into this offseason. I don't even know if say offseason, halfway into the offseason. But this roster is definitely being built. We don't have a whole lot of holes because there's a lot of depth. So again, I appreciate you guys coming through. Bryan, I appreciate you, of course, holding it down, man. Definitely had a lot of stuff there, and I like that, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope I didn't ramble on and jump around, but you know, it is what it is, man. We're loving it.
Yeah, we don't forget to give the love out to you guys. You know, we'd be nothing without you guys. So one thing that we don't forget to do is always do what? Ring that bell,
baby. Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do? You're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
GameTime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
Broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you going to tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil, and of course my co-host, GameTime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000, I don't even need to hear it.